Warriors against the Roosters, Round 2, 2023. Post-match review. Let's go. Hey team, welcome back to the Warriorholic. Time for a bit of a debrief and see how things went as the Warriors went up against the Roosters yesterday in Sydney. So, before we went into the game, I was kind of torn, It's the Roosters. Everyone said they're going to win the title or they're going to be top 4. We're the Warriors. People still don't think we're going to make the 8. Did we really ever have a chance? Well, on the back of our performance against the Knights and their piss poor performance against the Dolphins, in my heart I thought we could give them a go. In the end, we could have beaten them. But, like so many other games over the years, our first attacking set, Ford cops a shoulder to the face there, out cold, goes off. Not even an inkling of a penalty, much less 10 in the bin. You see a lot, lower impact shot in the Dolphins game yesterday. The guy's off for 10 minutes. Absolute lack of consistency, but I just thought it was going to be one of those games. In years gone by, from those kind of starts, you can often see the Warriors just drop their heads, end up getting spanked by 30 or 40 points. But not yesterday. The boys stuck in it. How good was that resilience throughout the first half there? To only be down by a couple of points. Unfortunately, I think all that time on defence really sapped it out of us. Playing in a 30-degree heat for the first time this season, it was all a bit much. And I think, we struggled to deliver on attack in the last sort of quarter there due to a lack of energy from what we expended in the first half. So, great effort. Got to be really, really proud of the defence, the heart and the resilience we showed. But I think that comes down to a bit of our own mistaken kicking strategy there. I'm going to harp on about this again. This constant effort of Shaun Johnson kicking from inside his own half or right on halfway, putting up these bombs that land on their 20. Their outside backs take it with ease, no one in front of them, 10 to 15 metres to run. Then by the time we get to the first or second tackle, they're up on halfway, right into our attacking zone to put in those kicks on the, tackle 5, getting repeat set after repeat set. Our guys did a great job to hold them out, but absolutely smoked us. As fit as we are, no team can make that many tackles in the first half in that heat and still, really be able to compete when it comes down to it in the second half. So, great effort, but poor execution led to that for me. So looking at some of the key stats from yesterday, one that really told for me was the total kicking metres. 732 metres they kicked for. We kicked for 547. That's almost 200 metres difference. That's a lot of ground over 80 minutes. Likewise, the kick return metres, 250 versus 134. Way more running metres for them because of the distance we gave them, another 100 metres. Just those 3 metres they got to jog up unopposed. So a lot of the other stats, if you have a look at, we kind of lost by 5 to 10%, which was reflected on the scoreboard. One thing I was really happy to see, listening to Fozzie on SENZ there early on in the week, he's a bit of a stats man. He was saying that the team who wins generally will have the fastest play of the ball. 3.54 seconds for us, 3.79 for them. So it shows we are really improving in our ability to slow that ruck down a little bit. Traditionally, we've been pretty useless at it and got penalised a lot. We gave away a couple there yesterday for holding them down, but no more so than I think the Roosters. So that's a good sign that the wrestling training is paying off a bit there. That gives us that fraction of a second every tackle to get our guys back on the line. Looking at the players and how they went, you got to give a shout out to Tohu, player of the match for me. 60 tackles, 80 minutes, just ridiculous. That said, it worries me a little that he's doing a little bit too much. How's he going to last throughout the season even if he doesn't get injured? He could be gassed coming in the back quarter of the season. We saw that from Payne Haas last year where he tried to do everything for the Broncos when they were struggling earlier on. Then by the time they got to the end of the season, he was gassed. we saw them drop off. So I hope they give Tohu a bit more of a bit more time on the bench there. Some of the other guys take up the slack on defence. I thought Barnett again defended really, really well there. His line speed is great. He always gets up there and puts on that hit when we need to turn the momentum of the game a bit. Adam Fanua-Blake, really, really strong. In fact, I thought our starting front row won the battle there. Sean Johnson continues to progress. I think his overall game, his defence was light years better than it was against the Knights. One-on-one, some of the hits he put on were really, really good. I don't think he actually missed any. Running the ball more, being more creative, which is great to see, but kicking game, not ideal. Other notable performers, Wade Egan, another really, really good game. Good to see him link up a couple of times there when he made breaks out of dummy half. I'd love to see a bit more of that. I'm going to keep harping on about it. I'd love to see him kick more, especially on that third or fourth tackle when the fullback's up in the line or out of position. Get those easy meters like they saw from Brandon Smith that he put in that good kick before he went off yesterday. So another great game from Montoya. Man, that guy's a rock when he's got the ball. He breaks people, doesn't he? They were probably the standout ones for me. Near quarter, probably his best game that I've seen him play. I think we used him a lot better. One of the things I was torn with, this play where dummy half skips the first middle forward to Johnson, who skips another middle forward to hand it off to one of our back rows to put them one-on-one with the halfbacks or the 5'8". We did that really well. You could see that it was getting our back rows one-on-one, but their halves stood up in the to the defence, but it just got a little bit repetitive. I think we need a little bit more of variety. We've obviously worked a lot on our D over the holidays, but now we've got to really nail our creativity and get a few more sort of attacking options there that are not all centred around Sean Johnson. As much as I love Tamati Martin, the guy is an absolute, committed, hard-working machine. He's got a nice little subtle sort of offload or short pass to him, but he doesn't seem to have that same level of X factor that a guy like Metcalf has. So I think we really missed someone like him yesterday. If you have him, Metcalf, coming on at, say, 14 with 15 to go with those tired Sydney Fords yesterday, he could have carved them up. With CNK being out concussed, it's highly unlikely he will play next week. So you'd imagine Tamati Martin goes to the back and Volkman comes into the halves, which gives us that second kicking option. He's probably not a better kicker than Johnson, but he can kick. So it gives us another option there. Still not the most creative. So we're probably going to rely a lot on Johnson in our attack. We're pretty lucky that the injuries we got are in areas we've got depth to cover there. Curran going off. Ford, both of those guys may be unlikely to play next week. So timely that Jazz came back on the weekend for the New South Wales Cup, who nice to see them. They spanked the Roosters there. So I think we'll see him get a run, and we may get one of these young fellas a chance coming up here into the first grade team to show their wares. It's going to be a big challenge against the Cowboys up there in the heat. It's probably going to be hotter, more humid than it was this weekend. If it was me, I would have stayed in Aussie, flown straight up there, spend the week up there acclimatising, take the travel factor out of it. Coming back to Auckland, practising in 20, 22 degree heat, and then going up there and having to play in 32. It's a big adjustment. So for me, that's how I would have gone about it. But, Weeby knows a lot more about football than I do. So 2 games in, what are we looking at? Defence, as good as anyone that I've seen so far this season. Attack, we're probably going to struggle against the top 4 or 5 teams who've got really outstanding defences. 2 tries against the Roosters, probably not enough to really be a top contending team. But once we start getting up against the middle of the road teams like the Knights or the Tigers and the like St George, there's no reason we shouldn't be able to put on a lot of points and sort of have a good impact on our for against there, which it'll probably come down to, that last place in the 8 this year is highly likely to be decided on for and against. So I don't think we're going to have that massive blowout worst for and against like we did last year. So a lot of positive signs. Fittest, I've seen them in 4 or 5 years. The most hard I've seen them playing I can't actually remember the last time I saw them play with this much heart. Every chance we can sneak in there into the top 8, so still onwards and upwards. I'd love to see us get up over the Cowboys, but they'll be smart enough to losing in the weekend, so going to be another tough match. Let's do it, boys. Mighty Warriors, all in for 2023.